What up, homies? Welcome to
Hanging with Hooligans,
a podcast where we just hang out and talk about our topic of the day.
I'm Doug.
I'm Alex.
I'm Chuck.
I'm James. Well, this is our first official episode that we're doing. It should be pretty fun. What do we want to start out with here? Should we just kind of give it over to Doug and let him introduce himself real quick?
Oh, yeah, we're doing intros. So. Okay, that's right. Well, so I'm Doug. I moved out here about 2 years ago. 3?
That sounds about 3? Right.
Oh, dang, yeah, 2001. Anyways, no,
2001.
Damn, Doug, you've been out here a long time.
It's been 2 years, man. You know, you take the place mark, you put it over there, you switch it over. There's a 2021, right? Anyways, I came out here about 2021, and since then, just been hanging, chilling, surviving. You know, it's America.
And I'm Alex. I've been out here in the Midwest, probably going on 7 years. 6 years. One of those two.
Yeah, I'm Chuck. Me and Alex actually moved out here together roughly 6 years ago. We were convinced by James to move out to the Midwest to afford to live, you know, because we lived in California before, and it is very expensive there.
Can testify to that.
And I'm James. I'm the one who's tricked everyone to move out here to the middle of nowhere. I'm also the one that's a little odd one out. I have kids. No one else does. So, you know, my opinions differ a little bit on some things on that. But today, we're starting out with a fun topic that everyone loves. Cloning. Is it good? Is it bad? Purely for evil? What do you guys think?
Well, of course it's purely for evil. Why else would anybody start doing something like that?
Oh, yeah. Why help? Right.
Why help?
Before we dive into cloning too deeply, I just wanted to say, you kind of made it sound like we were going to be like, yeah, we're pro-child abuse here.
You kind of
Because we don't have children, you know.
Well, I mean, you guys might not be pro-child abuse, but...
Anyways,
my kids know they fall down the stairs quite a lot. I don't abuse my kids.
Just to get that on record.
Just to get it on record.
I think I'm cutting that out.
Your Honor.
Let's just leave that.
Your Honor.
Oh, jeez. So, yeah, about cloning. So, I mean, yeah, good or evil. First of all, well, what kind of cloning are we talking about? People, like, you know, the little brains people are making out of, like the little blood samples? Or are you guys talking about trying to clone like your endangered animals? Or?
Cloning endangered animals or even de-extinction, which is the term now from what I understand, even though it sounds kind of funny.
That does sound kind of funny. That doesn't sound like something people normally do.
Right.
De-extinct something, yeah.
We've de-extincted it.
Okay, so we'll start with the animals then.
Start with the animals.
We've made it distinct.
Yeah.
So this is the one thing I've made a note on. Dolly the sheep. Everyone knows Dolly. We've recently found out she was not the first successful clone, but she's probably the most famous. And she lived for like 6 years, I think we did the math on that one.
Yeah.
But Alex, you were talking about cloning animals for de-extinction.
Yeah, actually to help with climate change, or at least that's the theory. I believe it was supposed to be in Russia, but they want to drop a bunch of woolly mammoths out there. And it's for the purpose of actually battling climate change. So I don't really know how a lot of that works. I'm just a California boy living in the Midwest. But I find it really interesting that that's the way that they're going to try to go about that.
Did
anything to keep that oil going, right?
Yeah. Well,
Get
yeah,
those
we've
fossils back in the ground one way or another.
we've dug up the mammoths before. Now we got to put more mammoths on Earth to get more of it.
Well, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you think of that, like, let's just stick with the mammoths. We know that they were around in relatively not too far in history.
Right.
Like, I mean, they could have killed one of our great-great-grandpas somewhere back down the line there.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to have that chance for us to have that happen to us again.
It's also like, did an animal go extinct because of our intervention, or was it just naturally going to go? If it was our thing, if it was because of us, then yeah, maybe we should try to introduce them back into the environment. From what I understand, that the environment still is being affected from their absence. in certain situations, like the Tasmanian tiger. They were directly kind of taken out by people, and because they couldn't compete with the introduction of the dingo. So, are those the animals that we're strictly trying to bring back, or is it all animals? And in what way are we doing that? Are we mixing DNA with a currently existing animal and producing a
Hybrid.
kind of an animal like that looks like that?
That's
You know,
true, because
like-
we've had multiple documentaries called Jurassic Park that have told us some
Don't.
bad things that can happen with cloning gone wrong.
Mhm.
But I guess it also does depend. Like, if we... Well, I mean, let's look at an animal that we know that people straight up took out. You know, the American bison.
Mhm.
Very little of those left. Sure, we could completely reintroduce herds of those, but then I guess where do they go? What do they do from there? We do mammoths in Siberia, not as many people. I guess what would bringing them back in do? Besides look cool. I mean, honestly, you see a picture of a mammoth, they look awesome.
Right. Well, has the ecosystem moved past them?
That's true.
Yeah, and so with your bison argument, like from what I understand about the bison going extinct, it was legit just basically people building railroads and going like, you know what, those bisons are causing like, you know, issues. Or I think it was even more of a tribal religious thing where they thought that, you know, basically the natives were saw them as sacred, or at least that was kind of the stereotype. So they basically annihilated, or even just from an economic standpoint, they saw the buffalo provided the native tribes locally with these goods, and so, you know what, let's get rid of their source of that income.
Well, like many things in life, it's, from what I've understood, it's mostly based on that last one and the racism of, hey, these
Right.
buffalo were helping out the natives, let's just kill them. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that picture of the massive pile of skulls, the buffalo skulls.
Yep.
But that was basically just killing these herds for the sake of killing them to get
Yes.
them out of the way and make other people move on.
Yeah, I understand a lot of train passengers back then also.
Yeah.
They hunted them for fun and stuff like that.
But then, so
and that was encouraged for a reason, basically.
But now, since that's all happened and everything, since then along those railroads have popped up these small towns and small cities and stuff like that. Would reintroducing the bison equal having to decrease the population in those areas of another species? AKA, would reintroducing the bison be conducive or deducive to human societies within those areas? You know what I mean?
And how much would they encroach upon each other?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's I feel like that's first world problems right there. You know what I'm saying?
very
Like,
much.
Right, definitely.
Because I think right now the only wild bison herds really are kind of like Yellowstone National Park, that area, and that Montana, Idaho area.
Mhm.
Beautiful if you haven't been there.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. And right now the bison are getting along just fine, except for the people, you know, coming out of their cars to go
And
try
trying
to
to
pet the
touch
bison.
them.
And get along with cars.
Bison get along with cars great. They've never been bothered by a car in their life.
Yeah, we were there and we were like, we're gonna stay in the car.
Yeah. Anyway, we had a bison like 15 feet from us on our drive through there, and you know what we did not do was get out to pet the bison.
Yeah, that didn't seem like the safest thing to do.
It's not very economical either.
Not very cool to the animals either.
No.
But
But like, oh, sorry. Doug.
Yeah, well, so, and I actually would love to see the bison come back. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that was a legit, like, humans came by, saw a resource, just completely destroyed said resource. Now we have the technology to bring it back. And in larger number, or in equivalent, if not larger numbers than before. I would say not like, you know, don't give these bisons like, you know, the genetic code to multiply and like give 5 to a litter sort of thing, you know.
Right.
have
Control
have
the
them,
population a little
well,
bit. No,
have them
that sounds problematic.
I was gonna say have them be on that natural. Have it be a natural clone as opposed to it being a genetic clone, if that makes sense. Like,
Right.
if as far as cloning goes, as natural as can be, as opposed to being like, you know what, this guy went extinct because of it not being able to live in this environment, so we're gonna make it immune to that now. You know.
Right.
Well, I suppose
And that's
before
where.
the show started, we were talking about the rhinos.
Ooh, yes.
I don't know if there was the white or the black rhinos that we were talking about there, but one of them has just recently gone extinct.
Yep.
And, I mean, how much DNA do we have from these? is it possible to clone these animals back to be sustainable on their own, where they don't turn into weird inbred hillbilly rhinos?
Well, as I understand it, it's less. I mean, it looks like they're just going for hybrids at this point because that's what they can do. I mean, for all I know, there's so much more. There are people cloning dinosaurs. I'm not exactly learned on the subject.
And we should all preface this that none of us know anything about anything, and we're
Yeah.
just kind of spitballing here because it's fun and stuff to talk about.
We're 4 buddies that got together and were like, "Hey, let's record a conversation."
Before we get too far on this cloning subject, I was going to ask, Alex, where did you hear about the whole mammoth thing? If you remember any
Key details. I've heard a bit from a podcast hosted by Forrest Galante. It's the Wild Times podcast. He is a real life wild biologist. He's kind of been at the forefront of de-extinction. He had a show for a few years called oh god, what was it called? Editing here. Extinct or Alive. And he actually ended up finding like 3 or 4 animals that were wrongfully deemed extinct. If you haven't checked out the show, I mean, it's a little broy. not gonna lie to you, it's a little broy. They call their listeners brosners. And the broologist, professor, all that stuff.
bro
But
sinners? That doesn't sound very bro. There's no sinning when it comes to being a bro.
nope.
Yeah, I figured I would just ask that just in case someone goes like, okay, you're just pulling that out of your ass. Like, this ain't
Right.
a thing.
Well, you also have to wonder how much I actually understood too, because I've only ever worked at a zoo. I'm not going to claim that gives you any sort of insight into animals or anything, but it definitely gave me a little bit of a passion as far as like I don't want to see these animals disappear.
You're basically going as much as like any article on the internet.
Yeah,
Just
pretty
reiterate
much.
something.
Yeah.
We'll be like, we read a thing somewhere that says this, so
We're not
Right,
deep
yeah.
diving into this at all.
Yeah.
No, this is something cool that I saw or heard in this case, and thought it would make a cool little topic for people that don't know what they're talking about to talk about.
Yeah. And you know, so I've got the Wikipedia pulled up on Dolly. And everything we've seen on here is that animal cloning has been a lot more successful than any of us probably ever thought. Like, Dolly lived for a while and she died from a lung disease. Dolly has 4 clones of her, so a clone got cloned again 4 times, and they were alive at 9 years old. It's Daisy, Debbie, Diana, and Denise.
Currently alive.
Currently alive, according to this, at 9 years old, they're still alive and kicking. So cloning has gotten fairly stable and viable. It's no longer, really science fantasy, science fiction.
Right.
It's something that can happen. And just going down this again, it sounds like in 2018 in 2018 they cloned some monkeys that I cannot pronounce their names of because I was in China and I'm not about to do that. And then in 2019 they did it again with some more. So they're getting primates successfully cloned. So that brings us into the next part is we're getting that much closer to being able to clone people.
Yeah, but we do that naturally.
Well, like what I said, they're already at a point with stem cell reproduction where they're making what are called organoids, where they take stem cells, and it's like pretty much like blood, like warm blood, and then from the stem cell it becomes specific organoid. So right here that I had saved since the beginning, according to the Science Alert article here, many brains, like miniature brains, were grown in a lab from a stem cell, and in 2021 they developed rudimentary eyes. So
That's
scientists
creepy.
are looking at pretty much trying to produce organs for like replacing organs or curing
Yeah.
disease and stuff like that.
'Cause,
So
yeah, I know we've used like pig organs successfully in the past on things, and I mean, being able to have organ replacements that are not rejected as much would be a huge step forward.
Yep.
I know there's been things for 3D printed organs, but I'm not sure how far that's actually gone. If it's just like replacing a bit of tube in the air or something. God, what was that terrible movie that was about clones on an island that were actually just grown for parts.
Ooh, oh yeah, where they had like the lottery and all that stuff.
Yeah, God, was it like Shutter Island or something like that?
I think you might be right.
I don't know why. I know the movie, but I don't know the name. I was like,
Yeah, I want to say it was something island. But when you get into cloning like that, it's like
Clone Island.
Clone Island. Quick shout out to the old school show Clone High. That was a good show. Nothing to do with what we're talking about, but
I thought they brought that back too.
I think they're bringing it back for a season or something. I mean, why not? But, if you're going to clone organs, how far does it go till we're cloning people?
Mm-hmm.
And when do those people get rights? Did you guys... My Sister's Keeper, I believe the book and the movie was called, where they literally had a sick girl and they went and they had another baby just to raise her for parts.
Yep.
Now that shit's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do when it's a clone, though? Like, are clones going to be considered people if we're just raising them for parts? Like, how does that work? How should that work?
And see, I think that's where I feel like us as a society have to make those rules/laws that state, like, you have to do it. You can only do it for organs.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do a whole person. If you want like an entire intestine, you got to do the entire intestine. You can't be growing a person and then ripping out the intestine of that person.
Well, I think it needs to be said too. Like, obviously, the correct answer is if you clone a human being and it has thoughts, feelings, and everything that we have, yeah, obviously that being should have every right that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
this is getting really weirdly into like the pro-life kind
Yeah,
of argument.
Yeah. It's like, what makes a person a person? But
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think, if a
We're
cloned
kind of-
sheep can have more babies, because Dolly had 6 lambs of her own and then was cloned. I think that's sheep. Dolly is a sheep.
Yeah.
I think a clone would be a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can't just raise something for parts like that.
Yeah.
Luckily they have the organoid thing. And,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just want a big vat of floating organs.
Yeah,
Right.
so hopefully they
That would
don't do
actually be
person.
really funny if you could just walk into hospital. Yeah, and I need a new heart. Choose one from the tank.
And
There's
also,
a 30-day warranty on it.
and if we're cloning people or animals, like if we decided that it's more cost effective to clone an animal than have a cattle farm, is that okay? Because obviously the cattle farmer is going to be like, hey, I'm kind of fucked now.
Yeah.
But
So it's lab-grown organs. That brings us to lab-grown meat. That's
Yeah.
been a thing for a while. I am going to interrupt for a second, dude. That movie was actually just called The Island. It was a Michael Bay movie from 2005.
Huh, that's why I saw it, was because it's
it's a lot
Michael
of
Bay
bass drops
movie.
in the background, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
A lot of military.
Actually,
Well, no, it had Obi-Wan Kenobi in it. Ewan McGregor.
Really?
And
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
Okay, I guess I need to go back and watch this movie.
Yeah,
I
that
was
might
gonna
be
s-
something to watch again.
I don't think it really got militaristic until like maybe the last 20 minutes of that film, and
Fucking
you'll watch it and you'll see why.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Michael Bay, so it's going to be nothing but explosions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're not in this for the plot.
Was the military involved in the Ninja Turtles movie?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I was trying to think about that when he said
They probably got barrels of ooze floating around there somewhere.
that.
We got that ooze for free. It's
I
radioactive
didn't think of
though.
that one. You got me with the turtles.
I was trying to remember because it was such a whatever movie. I think the only thing I liked is that in the Ninja Turtles movie, I think they made a reference to the first comic. Like, I don't know if I'm remembering this right either, so everyone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure they did, in fact, kick Shredder off a building, like in the first comic.
There was a lot of murder in the original comics.
And I think that's the only part where the government really came in and was like, we got, can't have that anymore. That's why your second Turtles movie, the live one, they were hitting people with like sausages and like didn't have their weapons, I think, throughout that entire movie. And they also had
friendly.
They also had all of the people masked, I think, at that point too. I think that was a major film that was like, ooh, shit, dude. I don't think this is for kids anymore. Let's make it for kids. What's gonna make it for kids? Hit things with bologna instead,
Well, what's getting crazy is they're making a Last Ronin video game.
Jesus.
What's
If you don't know the storyline for The Last Ronin in regards to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Basically, 3 of the turtles are killed off, and it's just Mikey.
Yep.
And he's on his quest for vengeance, and he's
That-
kind of
yeah, it's a pretty-
suicidal and probably an alcoholic.
Not even a little suspense for who it is, huh?
Oh,
I mean, that's what made me actually care about The Last Ronin, is finding out it was Michelangelo, because that was my favorite turtle. But
yeah,
I
that
remember
was an intense story.
every time it comes up, I'm like, oh my god, are they going to change who it is? And it's always still Mikey. I'm like, thank God.
Spoiler.
Right, yeah.
But you know what could have fixed all that? Cloning. He could have just cloned his brothers.
God.
This is how we get off topic.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we've...
I just imagined 3 Mikeys. That's crazy.
Oh, God, that'd be terrible.
That's a lot of pizza, my dude.
But pizza.
Doing
Clone
clone
pizza.
pizza.
Get clone pizza.
Oh, I like this pizza. Just keep cloning it.
What do you want me to clone today? A deep dish.
Well, you know what they say. When life gives you lemons, you clone those lemons and make super lemons.
Well, like right now, we could clone a plant. Like I have like 3 plants on the table there. We just have to find the right section of it, and we could clone that plant. Like legit, I think the DNA from that plant on that twig, we'd have the same identical plant.
You think about that, a lot of
It's really
genes play.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's really
I
some of the
suppose
easiest thing.
a lot of our fruit trees and everything are literally just clones of. Are literally just clones of other trees that we've already gotten. So we've been actually kind of cloning things in roundabout ways for a while.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already cloned our fruit. Some veggies are cloned. I mean, potato is just a potato from another potato. You grow a
And-
potato with a potato.
GMO people are gonna hate us now.
Oh, right. So we get
What?
lab-grown meat. I mean, I'd try lab-grown meat. Who wouldn't? And if it can be done cheaper and more efficiently,
Mm-hmm.
why not? I mean, we
with
will
less-
eventually get to that point in society that
With
we're going to
hope.
have replicators and shit. What's the difference?
Well, I mean, people are also super into doing steroids and stuff again recently, so why not just get your, growth hormones
Are
put
we
back
going
into
back?
the chicken while you're
Right?
at work, You can make better, more protein, more healthy
Double
chicken.
protein.
And,
Well, instead of getting a refill of salt, I got MSG instead. So
Dude, MSG is the way to go.
it's
I know
good shit,
it's
dude.
rebranded as Accent in most places around here because you can't just say MSG on it, but fuck salt, use MSG. It's the best. It makes
It
everything
is.
way better. I buy that shit in bulk.
Makes your taste buds happy.
Yes.
That
This
it
makes
does.
everything better.
Feels like you're trying to get Uncle Roger on the show.
It's the weed of food.
If we can get Uncle Roger on the show, that'd be just fine.
Oh my God.
Totally
That would be
down for
awesome.
that. But seriously, there's so much MSG in everything we already eat anyways. If we can get that directly into our lab clone,
Yeah.
can you imagine you have cloned meat that's already been flavored in there? We clone a steak with some basil, oregano, garlic going on.
Yeah, but
Just-
that would bother me a little bit. I like
It'd be
doing
a
that
different way
stuff.
to eat. Yeah, it wouldn't be for the true foodies and everything, but you think of convenience food. If this is like an actual steak,
Mhm.
just growing in a lab that we splice with everything, and it doesn't cause us to get like a third arm out our asshole or anything,
Mhm.
I'd be down for
I
that.
would same. I think it'd be fantastic to have like different types of meat, and more preferably so just something more suitable. Like just thinking about the factory process of getting processed meat. It is depressing at the very beginning, but then after you get through the slaughtering of all those animals, it's
Oh.
fine and dandy
Yeah, like,
again.
dude.
Like,
So I love turkey. Have you guys ever been to? So we have a slaughterhouse in town for turkeys.
yeah.
Has anyone besides me ever actually been through that slaughterhouse?
Nope.
I feel like I've
No,
I
feel like I
the
don't need
doors
to.
open so you can see what's going on.
Yeah, so I've actually been through there, and my God, is it a terrifying experience if you're not ready for it. So I mean, that just kind of cut down on some stuff like that. Less handling, less heads flying around at you.
Exactly, and it's not.
Speaking of cutting down, one of my homies lost the tip of his finger at that turkey plant. Too.
Oh man!
Like, he got his hand stuck in it, and like
In the turkey?
No, in the turkey plant. Working there.
Oh, and some of the machinery, yes.
Yeah.
Oof.
He lost the tip of his finger.
Oh, dude, that sucks.
Yeah, definitely. And
Like, there's a surprise on Thanksgiving when you go to cookie turkey and you're getting it out. It's like, there's a fucking finger in here.
Yeah, right. There's no knowing where that went. I think.
I'm still laughing at it stuck in the turkey.
But alternatively to what you guys were saying, you guys were talking about slaughterhouse meat and stuff like that, which it doesn't take the slaughter out of it, but of course farmers and the idea of like what you could possibly achieve with cloning, I think might mitigate or even help farmers sustain a different or healthier or improved population of livestock if they so wish. Like especially
Like
people
make
that,
a hardier creature.
Well,
yeah, there's all sorts of things because like you could try to make like if there's mad cow disease, all sorts of things like that you got to worry about, especially when you have all this livestock together and stuff like that.
Right.
Cloning can mitigate that. Especially, I think, what was it, a year ago, or even 2 years now, there were heat waves that were killing like a ton of cattle and other livestock, and everyone was too busy talking about other stuff in the news. I think like Ukraine and Russia was going on, and like everyone's like, why isn't anyone talking about this? And it's like, because apparently that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And they have that stuff insured. So maybe the addition of cloning livestock and stuff like that, it's like not only do you have insurance on the animals you lost, so it's not just like, oh, here's the money for what you were supposed to give us, but now it's like, okay, here's
here's your cows back. Yeah.
Well, I can see
raise
that.
these.
Well, even in bringing in, like, say we find a couple bulls that are just amazing creatures. They're hardy. They produce offspring that are resistant to disease. Instead of having some guy having to sit there and jerk off that bull for 1,000 times to spread out to everyone, make a couple clones of it, send those clones off so that the population increases better that way.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, that's a way to do it.
Of course, I think on the other end of things, a lot of the people who would be, exactly the people we're talking about, farmers, livestock, even the slaughterhouse people, will probably be opposed to this, especially just off the basis of like paranoia and possibly rightful paranoia.
Yeah.
Even though like I'm sure Dolly the sheep didn't have any crazy problems, but because Dolly the sheep died of lung cancer, like you said, 6 years in.
Which you said was not from the cloning process, according to the Wikipedia.
Yeah, but some guy, some Roganite head type dude is gonna be like, well, of course they're gonna say that, man. It's an agenda, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and god dang, on the point of agendas, man, like bring proof. There's some agenda, like not,
You don't take notes at a criminal conspiracy.
yeah, like take so going political now, Project 2025. Like apparently everybody's really up in arms and talking about it and stuff, but it doesn't seem like any of the Republicans are sitting there going like, oh no, they've seen our terrible scheme or anything like that. But I'm just like, the only person that's ever quote unquote provided evidence that there is a agenda has been the persons that say there's agendas.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like.
I'm not sure if I follow that. But that's why I laugh.
Well,
I get where you're coming from.
well,
of
so
course.
it's those people that will say there's an LGBTQ agenda. There's
Right.
no fucking agenda other than, hey, yeah,
You
we're
s-
here, we're alive, get fucking used to it. That's
Yeah.
the only fucking agenda.
Okay, so I thought, using that example, I thought you were trying to say the only agenda that you could see is the person who's saying there's an agenda, and it's, in fact, their agenda to be like, I hate this thing, and,
Well, and-
they're the ones with the agenda.
I
So
was
it's
gonna-
almost pointing fingers.
I mean, honestly, what you just said is pretty much exactly what I was kind of getting at. Was like, the only person that has an agenda is you, my dude. Like,
Yeah. Now, of course,
oh shit.
I guess to be somewhat of a devil's advocate for,
That's right where I was going to go. It's like, well, let's think, why is cloning bad?
yeah, oh, not just that, but not just cloning, but people who think there's an agenda in general. Usually, people will take the most rudimentary or something that you would think everyone would look at and be like, well, of course that's bad, and they somehow convince you that it is in fact a good thing. Like maybe because we've all been programmed and taught a certain way. We're obviously seeing something where we're so down to try this unnatural lab-grown meat without truly understanding where it comes from. Even though, in fact, it is, as we said, it's supposed to be...
supposed to be like cruelty-free, supposed to be...
Yeah,
better
well, yeah,
for-
it's so, it's supposed to be something that where it's grown from, obviously, the stem cell of animals, their DNA. So, obviously, it comes from a natural place versus the person who's going, well, obviously, it's not from nature because it's not naturally made. Which is the basis of the paranoia in general. It's like, GMO, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's scared of GMO because, like, they're like, oh, you use scorpion DNA in this apple and stuff like that. Apparently, that's a thing. I don't know. We'll have to fact check that later.
Well, U of M just came out with a new apple this year, so maybe we'll have to check and see if they put some scorpion in there.
But, like, it's one of those things. If scorpion DNA helped this apple become, blight resistant, famine resistant, cool. But
That's awesome.
yeah, but there's always going to be those people that are like worried about what that scorpion, DNA is going to do to you and stuff.
Yeah. I just want to. I want to know where they settled on scorpion DNA for these things, because that can't have been the first idea. Like,
Right.
my idiot brain is like, was this motherfucker trying to get a scorpion tail to grow out of an apple?
Well, it makes me wonder also, like, how when it comes to gene splicing, I know plants are a lot more normal than, like, because, conspiracy theory areas where you get to, like, the human chimera, like, when China did I think it was like James mentioned earlier, pig organs and stuff like that. People were talking about in China, they made, like, human pig hybrids, which I think there is some proof to that, but...
Well, I think they would put somebody's organ in a pig on that to let the, like, grow for a while until they were able to transplant it.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're actually having,
I've
like,
looked
pig
into
people.
this before for something that I wrote, and there's so much to it, and it was a lot of, like, the academic stuff and the conspiracy side, and, like, all seems so almost consistent to each other that I was like, wait, so what is the bad thing here? And that's why I mentioned the word chimera there, is because that's the operative term.
Yep.
If you guys want to look into that yourselves, I do suggest looking into the human pig chimera. I think it has something to do with China, but it's one of those strange things where that's what people think when it comes to gene splicing or cloning or whatever with human DNA. But then when it's plants, it's like, all right, we just made Pepper X,
Right.
Yeah.
This pepper literally makes your asshole fall out.
Yeah. So it's weird too, because, like, people accept, like, Carolina Reapers and ghost peppers and all this stuff pretty well, and those are obviously, like, bred together and, like, genetically modified to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's more of the old school genetic manipulation of where they're crossbreeding plants, but that's still genetic modification.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Want to do that with humans. I want some claws. I'll just climb up some shit.
Yeah. See, that's the issue is
Fucking
with
Batman
animals.
Beyond and shit.
Well, I
Sorry.
guess no, we can do that with animals. Hybrids are a thing.
There's
yeah.
Well,
like,
there is
I mean,
a liger.
There's
Yeah.
ligers, there's mules, there's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I was
mean,
gonna
you look
say
at
mule.
any-
Tigers and mules, I don't believe can breed.
No, they
Yeah,
can't.
But I
Yeah.
mean, you think of our res dogs around here. Those things are mixing everything in the world. They're out breeding because we see 1,000 of them a day.
There's a zebra donkey. I'm forgetting what it's called. I don't want to call it a zonkey.
Quagga.
No, that's something that looks like one. It's a
Oh.
different animal.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is a zebra donkey, and yes, it is also
Oh.
sterile. But
I could not
it looks-
imagine how loud that thing would be. Because
Dude,
I
it
know how
looks
loud
so
donkeys
awesome,
and zebras
though.
are separately. We're going to have to look that up.
Yes.
But going back on that a little bit, I can think of reasons why people wouldn't want lab-grown meat or anything.
Yeah.
You think about how much heritage breed vegetables have come back, and people want that small batch brew from the breweries and everything. They want that home craftedness. Like around here, local grown eggs are everywhere. Like you can't walk more than 10 feet without someone trying to sell you some eggs or something.
Mhm.
People really like that small, local, you know where it's coming from, and you get to lab-grown meat, you sit there and you think about it more, it's almost depressing. You think factory workers, yeah, okay, some guy's stamping a thing. You get to lab-grown meat, alright, some guy in a white coat and a full bodysuit is sitting there watering some meat every day as it's flapping about in a petri dish.
Right.
Like, that's a little bit tougher to go on.
True, and then on top of that, it would cut down on the labor of producing that meat, thus less jobs. Here we go, and then we're gonna go that route. You gotta have a job.
It's more industry, yet
It's
more,
something that can take out a lot of industry too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things, right? Because people talk about taking out industry, but when often or not, I point at the phone industry. I point at the print industry. I was like, these are things that still exist, just not as big as they used to, but they're still out there.
There is still horse and buggy out there. We have Amish around here. I've seen them building horse and buggies. They're getting it all from somewhere. Like, industry gets replaced.
Yeah. I guess my point was the industry doesn't get replaced, but people continue nonetheless, even if it's just through stubbornness of being like, no, I'm not gonna just get my news from my cell phone. I'm gonna keep reading the newspaper or whatever.
Right.
It's
a more reliable source. Or something
I wouldn't
like
worry
that.
too much about the the local farmers around here having all their meat replaced with lab grown meat, because like we said earlier, there's gonna be a lot of people who are still so paranoid about it, even if they took the cells from meat from that farmer and they sent it off to a lab and got that meat back, and they're like, here, this is our lab grown meat made from our cattle, our chickens. They'd be like, well, I don't want that. I want just kill that chicken instead.
I don't want your Satan meat.
Well, and the thing too is, production over like what. In the end, what we need is that ground beef to make our hamburger helper. You know what I mean? At least for me, that's what it is. It's like I go and buy a pound of ground meat. I don't go buy steak and ground it up into like this nice premium ground beef or anything like that. I just need meat to throw inside my noodles so that way it has some substance to it. So I have some protein and stuff, right? I could give two shits if that came from a lab. I could give two shits if that came from a real cow, so long as I have meat for my fucking food.
At the end of the day, we're not asking questions anyways.
Yeah, and we aren't.
Right,
And when we start doing that, people start to get upset because it's like they don't want to think. It's what people like to bring up all the time is you don't like to think of how the sausage is made, and it's like no, I think about how the sausage is made, and I'd like to see some better ways of making the fucking sausage. Like
But ultimately, I don't care. I'm gonna eat it.
yeah, yeah. Regardless, like whether it's lab grown, whether it's like I'm even willing to take a plant based meat so long as it tastes like fucking meat.
Right.
I mean here's
Or tastes good.
Yeah, or tastes
Right.
good. I was going to say, like the banana, for example. The bananas that you taste in your Laffy Taffy is made from a different banana. That's why it tastes so
Long
fucking
gone,
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, than the ones that you get down at your grocery store.
Speaking of bringing the extinct things back, if they bring that banana back, so much banana.
Oh God, dude!
Okay, so
It would be
hold
like
on.
a
You
minefield.
There is in Florida a farm that specializes in bananas. From the exotic ones to that extinct, I want to say it's called a Cavendish banana.
No.
So you can buy them.
No.
Yes, I have spent $80 to buy 5 bananas. That is something I've done. One of them was blue. It was delicious. It was really weird to eat.
I just see Chuck just eating all these bananas, and I'll be like, dude, what's wrong?
So
Too much potassium.
I had a point that I was going to get to, but real quick. So when I worked in security, I had he was such an annoying, like, weeaboo type coworker. But I remember...
He's sitting right next to you.
Shut up!
Yeah, I was like, wait, who? Doug? But,
Shut up!
No, so I was eating a banana because I was trying to be a little healthier at the time. And I brought, I think I brought 2 or something to work or something like that. He's like, you ever eat more than 2 bananas at once? I was like, no. He's like,
at the same time.
and he's like, I don't think anyone has. And I thought about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to eat this banana, the second banana today. But, sorry, back to the meat thing. So
Well,
you guys
if
were talking
anyone
about...
is out there listening and you eat 3 bananas at a time, let us know. We want to know what you look like.
Yeah.
I
So-
like eating meat and bananas.
Okay, so the thing that you guys were talking about, slaughterhouse stuff, and you guys are like, there's a bunch of questions we're not even asking with our own meat.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys aware of this compound they basically call it meat glue, and I saw something about it on TikTok.
Yeah.
It is so cool to watch. It is so disgusting to think about when you watch it, but I think it's neat.
Right.
It's a trip.
That's my rebuttal when it comes to, people who are like, oh, I'm afraid of lab-grown meat because all the, all the slaughterhouse people, all the butchers, people are still doing this stuff where they're using, like this meat glue to put together pieces of meat that are still not.
Is that how like McDonald's and shit does their
was-
hamburgers
yes,
and
I was
whatnot?
gonna
Is
say
that why when I watch those videos,
If you
like
have
it goes
ever
from
eaten
a
a
dark...
McDonald's chicken nugget, you have eaten the weirdest shit you can ever think of.
No. Now it. Oh,
Dude,
now it all
what
makes
part
sense.
of that? What part of that resembles chicken?
Well, no, I mean, like, that's just it. Like, even as a kid, I knew, I was like, there's no fucking way, because I don't see this in the grocery store.
If you look at the back of not like chicken tenders where it's like an actual spaghetti chicken shape, but like chicken nuggets, it's going to say mechanically separated meat. Now, that's great because they're not wasting everything, but they strip that shit off and press it in form and literally use like a protein paste to glue it.
That's
together.
insane.
It is both cool and gross at the same time.
That's why I don't really eat chicken nuggets like, a lot of people talk about. My dino chicken nuggets.
Yeah, my
and
dino
stuff.
nuggies.
Yeah, I'll eat the tenderloins and stuff. Where you tear it and you see that.
You see the actual tendon.
can see the meat.
Like,
Right.
There's protein strands in there.
Yet,
It looks real.
learning from this whole deal with the meat glue helps resemble that. So, this whole time people were like, well, I want to avoid chicken nuggets. That's why I'm going to eat these chicken breast tenderloins and whatnot.
No, you still have to look at the back to see if it says mechanically separated or if it just says chicken.
Well, even then, I forget why they even used the meat glue. Like, I know for, like, breasts and stuff, they want to have that fatty looking breast.
Well, because you can literally take your leftover scraps. So, like, if you're trying to debone a chicken, there's still some chicken left on that bone.
Yep.
They will, like, separate all those little scraps on. You throw some meat glue on it, and you squish it back, and you can shape that.
Yep.
And it won't pull apart.
Here it is, our,
It's chicken.
Yeah, chicken breast sliver and this, chicken ass or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, at the same time, anyone who's getting grossed out by this idea, you guys should also think about the fact that, like, chicken ass is the same as chicken breast, too.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. You're eating a living creature that is now dead.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
so
almost 2024. Don't be afraid about eating ass.
People have been eating ass for years now.
Well, I know a person who...
Who eats ass?
No, not this person.
You don't need to yell.
Damn, Doug, don't be so defensive. It's just
Talking
an
about
ass.
my sister, I was trying to keep
Your
it like...
sister eats ass?
No, god damn. And I wouldn't even ask her if she
Yeah,
did.
well,
Like,
I was
what
gonna
the fuck?
I was going to say call her right now.
Our first guest.
Hey, Doug's sister,
Well-
do you eat ass?
What I was gonna say is that she can't eat, like, chicken from, like, the carcass, if that makes sense. Like, rotisserie chickens, she just can't, like, she can't come up and pull off a leg and be like, I can eat this.
Does it?
Leg
Because
of
it
meat.
looks too much like a chicken
Exactly, that's exactly what it
Okay,
is.
so she feels sad about it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like it's weird seeing kind of the difference. Like with my sister, she totally gets it and everything. She wants it on the plate. Cool, no questions asked. But if she sees the fucking chicken carcass, she ain't gonna eat that night, you know.
So
but,
she'll still eat chicken, just
Yes.
it has to not be chicken.
yes.
Okay.
Whereas
Yeah.
for me,
Strange, but I get it.
I can see that.
But then for me, like I know the entire process, and I'm willing to rip apart a rotisserie chicken, pack it, rip off like chunks of meat, and throw it into a container, sort of thing. Ask me to kill the chicken and butcher it? Fuck no, man. Like, you know, like.
Oh, well,
So I think I could butcher the chicken. I think I'll feel bad, though.
it's not that bad. My mom has a farmstead. I go out there and help her with shit all the time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she's hardcore.
Dude, my mom scares me.
Dude.
She is a terrifying woman. Don't... Yeah, if I ever end up missing and she says she knows nothing about it, yeah, it's probably
She knows
my mom
it.
that killed
She
me.
knows that.
Yeah, she's...
I'm not
hardcore.
testifying against her.
She knows ain't no one going to. But yeah, I mean, every few months, there's normally 50 to 60 chickens that she butchers, and there's a big old pile of blood on her lawn for a while afterwards.
Is that within a year or?
That's
or
every
how
couple
long?
months.
So that's
So
just a
they're
couple
butchered
months
at 12 weeks is when she kills the chicks.
Okay.
So, I mean, her garage is filled with chickens. We got barn filled with chickens. She feeds the dogs raw diets. So they just toss them a chicken and have at it.
See, and that I think is really cool where it's that process. But if you were to tell me, I could probably cut the head off a chicken, but if you were going to tell me to pull its guts out, I'd be like, I can't. I can't, man.
That's
like,
where I was gonna go with the whole idea of like, oh, I don't mind eating a rotisserie chicken. Sometimes, if I don't quite recognize an organ, I could eat the organ because I've eaten definitely little tiny pieces of something that's like just a little dark piece of meat, and I'm like, this probably is fucking like lung or something.
Yeah, I've had chicken hearts before. They're not bad.
Yeah, but if I could tell it's an organ, I'm like, I'm gonna
pass on
separate
that.
even though it's like so soft. It's like the softest part of the chicken.
What do they used to call it? Sweetmeats is what they call organs.
Sweetbreads?
Sweetbreads.
That's brain, isn't it?
Oh, something like the sweet something is what they call organ meats all the time.
Now I know.
I said that too fast.
Now I know. I know about head cheese because of our buddy Aaron, who when we moved out here and went to the butcher, he got head cheese from the butcher, which was brain. I think it was pig brain.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and oh god, you could tell like he was super down for it at first because he's Mr. Naturalist. Like he wants to be, he wants to be the big mountain man or whatever.
Dude killed a deer and ate its heart.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he finished that head cheese though. I think his sight like something wasn't right about it.
Too much about it.
Well, see, I watched when I was watching Silence of the Lambs and that brain scene came up. I was like, I mean, I'd give it a try.
Well,
that looks fucking good, actually.
It's implied that he is a very, very great cook.
Yeah, that's
throughout
true.
all of the books.
That's true.
So,
yeah, you don't want to be rude and turn him down. But...
Yeah.
Well,
maybe I'll eat a little bit of human brain if, like you're offered me.
I'll try it.
We didn't even talk about that at all. Another very dark side to the whole argument of lab-grown meat and the fact that we've already addressed that we have the ability to grow organoids and stuff like that. And if who knows how much that has advanced and how much that will advance. How long is it going to be until someone, takes a little bit of their own DNA or Doug's DNA, whoever's DNA, and goes, all right, we're going to send this into the lab. They're going to grow me some human meat, and we're going to have some human tacos.
I mean, I already said I'd eat ass. I guess that's the next step.
Oh, yeah. So, that's funny.
Give me ham of Doug, and I'll just eat Doug's ass.
Yeah, and I know like, there's this guy who was amputated, and he did make human. That's why I said human tacos, because he made it with his own leg meat.
That's
human tacos
fucking
for his
insane.
friends. Yeah.
Did he make a good profit?
I don't think he made any profit.
Why would you do that then?
I mean,
Well,
I
'cause he
wouldn't
was
want to
losing
share
his leg.
myself with anyone. Like, shit.
I might
Man.
get curious.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the only
My
time I would
leg.
probably cut
Right.
a limb off purposefully is if it's one, being trapped, because that's just fucking natural. And two, if I, can find a job, nothing, and the only thing I could do was sell meat tacos, I guess I got leg tacos now, you know what I mean? Like,
That doesn't last you very long.
Yeah.
no,
I
it
was
doesn't,
getting a
but
very
at least
short
it gets
supply.
you that profit to get to the next town over to get it if you need,
Yeah. No, I think he had to lose his leg, and
Yeah.
he was making, it was like when life gives you lemons. It was when
Yeah.
life takes your leg, make tacos out of it.
Well, how many opportunities?
When life gives you a leg, makes tacos out.
Yes, so, anyways.
I
Yeah,
can't
so
get mad at that though.
that is a very dark place we would go. I mean, I suppose as long as it's consenting, people,
Oh, yeah.
consenting to send their own DNA or
Yeah, if I supply my tissue, I have no problem eating what they send back. It's me.
It's true.
I was a kid at one time. I ate scabs, I'm sure.
Well, they already have those
Uh.
things where you could get your partner's genitalia molded
Yeah,
into
that's
the
a creepy
chocolate
part of
sort
the
thing.
internet.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
chocolate.
Oh, you mean
Oh,
like
I was
getting
like,
their
Jesus.
genitalia morphed into like a dildo or something like that? Because I know that happens.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't know where he was going with that.
I'm just saying, sure. But
Yeah, I've seen the chocolate buttholes though. I've seen that.
Yeah.
No, I dug you, Alex. By the way, I was you said creepy part of the internet. I was like, what do you think Doug was saying? Like, oh yeah, you could hire this this Czech guy to go take your girlfriend's genitalia.
yeah, that's basically how it sounded to me.
Take her to the butcher shop.
Yeah.
You could get a mail order bride for that.
Come on.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Welcome
to
to dark.
do that to you.
We do not condone human trafficking.
No, we
No,
do
we do not.
No. Okay,
Uh,
so like the entire bride, the like mail order bride thing. Apparently, that was a very big thing, but something that was like accepted for some reason. But
Well, in the 80s, a lot of things were accepted that were not okay, including human trafficking for
True.
quite a while.
Yeah.
Right. Human trafficking is still it's insanely common
Yep.
and
Far too common.
yeah, it's I think when you're counting illegitimate ways to make money, it's still the leading profit above
I'm
drugs,
sure.
which is insane. Because I think
Well, you
You
need
know.
to combine them. If you're already sneaking someone into the fucking country, just throw some drugs in them too.
right, and that's even like big pharma and all that. We're saying people an illegal trade of human labor makes more money than illegal drugs and the legal drugs together. That's insane. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, and the human trafficking and going back to like growing people for organs too. I don't think a lot of people get trafficked for organs or anything because you think of most of where these people are coming from. They don't have the best health care. They don't have the best diets. They probably don't have the best organs.
You probably hear about it a lot more too.
There is
You do hear about it a little bit. Be like,
Right.
oh, they want. You think you wake up in a bathtub full of ice in Mexico type of thing.
Well, I mean,
I was gonna
personally, when I think human trafficking, typically it's like sex
trade.
sex
yeah.
shit. Yeah, that's my narrow
It's
view
a
of
broad stroke, yeah.
Right.
Broad
Very
stroke. Back to your point on human organs. There is a thing I heard about that was regarding China. Everyone's favorite villain of this
the
century.
21st century.
There were rumors that people were being harvested for their organs in China, and there were rumors that they were some of the Uyghur people.
I think it's Uyghur.
Uyghur, yeah. I'm really, yeah. I that word is a little too sus for me to try to pronounce because I'm like, okay, something gur. I don't want to.
As soon as you said that, I looked James dead in his soul.
Yeah. So, and now of course we.
Now I'm
don't
going to
know-
feel really bad if I'm wrong about how that was said too.
Right. Oh yeah. It was very close. I don't know. So, anyways, I don't know if it's true, and of course, that's the whole dark side of anything that could be a conspiracy theory, or fact, or just like CIA stuff. We don't know if this is true that China's harvesting organs, but apparently, that is something that
Yeah.
it wasn't just like tinfoil hat. That's something that people.
Might be some truth in there.
Yeah, there's some more substantial information about it, and I'm trying to remember the time frame. I think it was early 2000s, but people even talk about it today still. Again, because China's the big, China's the new Russia, especially when it comes to us.
Yep.
Well, that sucks. So we still got Russia as a Russia too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
they're all commies, so.
yeah, they're all commies. Yeah, the fun thing about everything we've seen in the past 2 years, especially with Russia and Ukraine, is finding out that Russia was not as big as bad. It was as big as bad as everyone said, because the Ukraine is still fighting.
You know how sad it is to know that Red Dawn probably never could have happened because Russia just sucks that much?
Well, no, more so. I'm like, damn, Red Dawn would have been more realistic, also because some dumbasses from a small American town.
Well, it's said that the remake with North Korea invading us probably would be the more realistic take at this point.
I don't know. Yeah. So I actually on North Korea, I have a lot of like it's weird because, like, you know, we've heard about the whole issue with, like, them trying to test nukes and they can't even get them, like, as far as Japan or whatever.
Yep.
Or Japan.
And then, like, the other one is you see, like, soldiers, or rather, on the other hand, you see some of them demonstrations from the soldiers, and they're doing, like, insane bouts of, like, physical capability stuff. But then, on the other hand, you see them out in the field with their really shitty military uniforms, like, straight up hip firing stuff, and you're like, what is going on with North Korea?
Are they okay?
Dude, they like Dennis Rodman, so no, they're not okay.
But, yeah, I don't know if we should try to bring this right back out over to cloning, or if, you know...
Oh, we don't have to stay on that topic.
Or
I mean,
talking-
we've talked basically an hour on just cloning.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing
Which is
I
really good. We almost managed to stay on topic this entire time, minus the
Yeah.
Mutant Ninja Turtle. Which was, you know,
I mean,
it's Ninja Turtles. We're all nerds.
I think mutants also go hand in hand with gene splicing, cloning, that kind of
if you're doing
thing.
cloning, you're going to get some fucked up mutants in there. Nothing's successful
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
Well, so in regards to China and like North Korea and all that stuff, like I all I can think of is just basically what we have going on in North Korea and South Korea is the same thing we have going on over in the Middle East with, you know, Israel and Pakistan sort of thing. Same thing that we had going on with Iraq and Iran sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just us going over there trying to put some form of influence, and then it's the local culture fighting back. There's some that are accepting of the, I guess, Western ideal of capitalism, but then everybody else is like, but what about food?
No.
Right. And of course, Doug did mean Palestine, not Pakistan.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Pakistan's not our best buddies either, so...
Yeah. Pakistan is on the other hand, on the other side. Yeah,
What we should be doing is influencing them with our kids' TikTok dances. That obviously solves all problems in the world.
Right. Yeah, that's one political topic where I feel like we definitely should avoid too is the idea of...
Oh, well,
That's
yeah,
as far as we're
definitely.
going into that, because there's no good answers.
That is like...
Okay, Doug, what we need you to say is just say Palestine, really nice and soft into that.
Palestine.
Okay.
Perfect.
That will definitely be a great edit later on.
Yes, it will.
What was that, 57? I'll mark that down with my notes.
just in case.
So,
I'm sorry. I was just kind of trying to be like, hey, yo, you guys, like, what's going on there is the same thing going on there, same thing that wherever we apparently decide to put our finger in, it's the same shit happening. America likes to put its fingers all around the world, and for some reason we get upset whenever something happens for us putting our fingers inside of those pies. You know what I mean?
right.
Right.
Whether it be China to the Middle East. I mean, like, shit, dude, I'm actually surprised that we don't have more news coming out of Africa and, like, South America right now, you know, because we've had our fingers in there before, and, like, you know, I guess it's just not newsworthy.
There was an article I was reading. It was more so like the idea of pretty much guessing where the next major theater of war that they're going to hyper focus on for the Americas. And so far we do have our answer. It's probably eventually going to be like Eastern Europe. But at the time they're like, is it the China Sea? Is it Africa, like the southern to middle Africa? Because we've been there because ISIS. You know, that's why we stopped hearing about ISIS a while ago in the Middle East. It spread like a virus into Africa, and of course, you know, a big Muslim population. People are going to be radicalized, just like here. There's, you know, Christians that are radicalized into, you know, being bigots and stuff.
There's a lot of nationalist Christians around here, those little Nazis.
Yep. So, you know, that's one thing that the people were discussing, though, is that the idea that one next major theater of war may be Africa in the future. Of course, most people point to China as a big, you know, again, because China's the big bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, as a Fallout fan, you know, I love just being like, oh yes, China, because, you know, Fallout was...
Maybe we'll finally get power suits.
I
just want power suits, goddammit.
Power armors for pussy.
Now, that's another interesting thing. If you guys are actually, if you guys were fans of Fallout, we finally got like what's the word? Concrete answers from the original creator on who launched the nukes first in that story.
Oh, do they actually like give us real things on that?
Yes, it was Tim Kaine.
Yeah.
He said in an interview offhandedly, like that it was China, and they're like, oh, that's major. Like no one knew that. And we're like, wait, really?
Whoops.
And it's crazy because even in Fallout 4, there's and this is a Bethesda game, not now. It's not the original.
Yeah,
They
Black
kept a lot of the lore fairly consistent, though.
Yeah, even with as many retcons and stuff as they kept it to where there's a Chinese spy in a submarine, and he did say he was the guy who launched the bombs first, and like felt really bad about it, and they did a real
No shit, he felt bad.
yeah, they did a real humanitarian take rather than him just being like the big evil Chinese spy, and
And well, what's interesting is that that's a very big parallel to what we had happen in our lifetime, or I mean, I guess not our lifetime. JFK with the entire Cuba blockade and stuff. Exact same situation as being depicted in Fallout 4, where it's like, okay, well, we got our nuclear arsenals all throughout the world. Legit, from what I understand, that Chinese commander launched it because he lost communications with China, if I'm understanding correctly, and he's just like, well, shit, here we go, and he pressed the button.
Like, all right, shit.
That shit could have happened in Cuba, dude, where it was like legit battle cruisers versus Russian cruisers.
Yep.
Each had their nukes aimed at each other, and it's just like, well, all we needed was for one of their communications to go, hello, all right.
A lot of the first-hand accounts of that too. Everyone was just terrified
on both sides too. Where I think both captains had a open hailing frequency with each other, just keeping communications. You guys aren't moving, I'm not moving. That's pretty much what it was.
On the other hand, here we are with dude. Relying on drones and stuff to do the talking for us. It's a lot more scary.
Mm-hmm.
You guys seen any of the
Out
video?
of war? Huh?
Oh, what's that?
I was just saying we're taking humanity out of war.
Oh, have you guys seen any of the videos of Russian soldiers having to surrender to Ukrainian drones?
No.
That's how they're doing the surrendering. Is they send a drone and you follow the drone.
I've seen a video of a Russian soldier surrendering. I don't know what it was though, so it could have been a drone because I just saw the camera and the Russian soldier was surrendering.
Yeah.
He was out in the middle of the battlefield, wanted to get out, and it was just really sad too because he looks like younger than me. I'm 29.
Yeah, dude,
I'm
a
sitting
lot of
there
these are literal kids out there,
Yeah.
and it's my little boy's 9, and he listens to the news way too much with me. He's very informed about what's going on, and trying to explain to him things in terms he can understand on all this, and just things like, dude, when he grows up, he's never known a time where there wasn't a major war going on.
Yep.
Because
Right.
we were in Afghanistan until just a year and a half ago.
And we're probably going back over.
And we have bases getting attacked in Syria right now, so that shit's going on now. We have everything going on there. What the hell is war going to look like in another 9 years when he's of that age where they could possibly, I'm not going to say the draft's coming back or anything, but it ain't that far of a possibility that something could happen.
There's definitely a lot happening in the world.
TikTok had a fun little trend about discussion. The military must have been discussing the possibility of drafting women again because there's a bunch of TikToks being made of me and the girls going to whatever, and it was the most ridiculous videos. But actually, it does make me wonder because even as far as the past 10 years and friends that we've all me and Alex have had in the military and stuff, the way they were involved with the war is very distant.
Right.
They still dealt with trauma in their own, not the same way that our grandfathers did and such, but
right.
they dealt with trauma.
No
in their
trench
own
warfare
ways.
and shit these days, but
Yeah. And so it was interesting hearing how far away things are happening. Especially for us though, because we have that ability as Americans to stay very far from every war and yet have our hand, as Doug said earlier, have their finger in every pie.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, there's literally no place on earth that America can't touch.
Well, and I think somebody even came out with a study that just showed America's the only one that has not embassies everywhere. We have military bases everywhere.
Yep.
If we don't have an embassy there, we definitely have a military base somewhere up in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here going like, well, shit, no wonder why everybody's so pissed at us.
Well,
We
American
can't even just build like a nice city somewhere. It's
Nope.
we gotta
power
build bases.
projection is crazy. I mean, the U.S. Navy literally controls the seas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to go somewhere, the Navy will go there. There is not a single person on Earth who will stop it. And that's also a kind of a good thing, because we're not being dicks and blocking, like, Panama Canal and everything, saying
Yeah.
you can't go through there.
Yeah.
And we're preventing others from doing that, but at the same time, like, that's a lot of fucking power in one country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's why I was very disappointed reading history where the United Nations was created. I think the U.S. was one of the only powers that came to the table and did not sign that agreement. I think along with like Russia and China.
The
or
powers
something
that
like
actually mattered at that point,
Yeah.
didn't sign anything.
Yeah, and so like I mean for me I was just disappointed because I was like, man, dude, like today if we were inside that UN, I kind of feel like we would be in a little bit better of a space just because we'd have more voices saying like, hey, yo, America, stop being a dick to your workers. Like, I feel like maybe, factory working might have had a less of a violent uprising. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things in history that I feel like would have been a lot better had we had like a bunch of other nations going like, hey, yo, America, you all right, man? Like, do you need some help?
You need to talk, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. But instead, we're like this super isolationist / globalist. We're like
Right.
we want to
Walking
run
conundrum.
everything from our basement, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh, well, that's some serious topics going on.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how Alex is going to edit the whole Doug's first initial tangent when it comes to America and his finger in the pies.
Yeah, none of you guys are going to hear that, but that should be fun.
Yeah.
What you did was you gave me more to edit. thank you.
No, we're going to leave this in.
Well, no,
you can leave this whole
Yeah.
part in about me
Yeah.
being weird. But
Well, no, Doug said it again, though. That's why I
Yeah.
mentioned it. I didn't mention it in passing. So.
If you want me to leave the original in there, I will.
no, I mean that's up to you guys. Because I mean, here's the thing.
No,
okay.
he said the part again is what I'm saying. So
Right.
when you guys are talking about giving something to edit,
It
was
sounded a lot
what you
better
just
this
said.
time, though.
Yeah.
He just said Pakistan instead of Palestine. That's not.
Okay.
Especially for I think the regular person, the regular person is gonna be like, oh yeah, I didn't know either. But then you're gonna have your fucking person who has been like, I've wanted to free Palestine for 2 years now.
Right.
Fuck you, Doug.
Well, and so
Am I keeping this part in here? Or
I'm writing it
are
down
we
just in
free
case.
recording or
why not? I mean, I don't see why not.
Okay.
Just see what you can make work with it.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say before, we should probably close this. I was
We'll
gonna
move
start.
on from this one
We're
after
a
this.
little-
Chad, finish this up, though.
Yeah, so to finish this off, I do want to point out, not very political, but that's kind of sad, that the Congo is the richest country, like I think, was it domestic or Dominican? The Congo, the region, is
domestic-
the richest region in the world.
Oh, like materials?
Resource-wise. It has, it's got...
It's the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
There we go. Democratic Republic of the Congo. Richest resource, most resource-rich country in the world. And it's a place with a lot of child labor, a lot of exploitation from the superpowers that we just mentioned, America, China, etc. And finding that out just made me really just bummed out about like what could have been with Africa and just in general, like that could be like a real life Wakanda there, because like
It honestly could, yeah.
what they have, it's like a lot of the a lot of the minerals that are very like electrical and stuff like that. So yeah, just wanted to just round it out with a very sad note there.
And we're laughing about it.
Yeah. We're laughing about it.
Well, that's what we do. It's a terrible conversation.
If you don't laugh, you'll sit there and cry.
Exactly,
There's a-
man. I got two options, and I'm going to go with laughing.
There's a reason we're not even going to try to be monetized on YouTube.
Oh Oh, this was definitely like we didn't swear that much, so I think
We didn't swear, but there are topics on here that would probably have us have to like review our flags every 5 days.
We didn't
Yeah,
say.
Doug's sister eating ass and everything might be a little much.
Oh no, I think that was after the 5-minute mark or whatever. No, I think as far as YouTube goes, the only thing we didn't go into COVID too much, so I think.
Nah.
Yeah, and on that topic,
Yeah.
This has been Hanging with the Hooligans. I'm Douglas.
I'm Chad.
We're not
I mean,
gonna-
Jonathan.
we're not editing the episode.
Oh, come on!
Like,
Oh, we could
what?
just. Oh, yeah, we could just have a
I was
closer.
gonna say that was gonna be the outro or something. you
Oh,
know?
I mean, are you ready to try to get on another episode? We're at an
I
hour
thought,
and 11
I thought
minutes.
you said we wanted to round this out. We're at like an hour. And
No,
10 minutes.
No,
I
I
was
was
just
changing the subject.
Oh
changing the
my
subject
God.
there.
Yeah, we could try another episode and maybe start with a different subject. If you
Yeah, and I mean,
You got
this-
a whiteboard there. Use it. Let us know if it's the ending or move on to subject.
No,
I have been.
No, he was trying to move on to the subject, but
Oh.
I did. No, it's because I said we should close it out.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's fine though, because now you could just put something in there and have James say a closer or whatever.
This has been Hanging with the Hooligans. I'm Douglas.
I'm Alex.
I'm Chuck.
I'm James. Thank you for listening to us on our humorous podcast that turns serious for no reason at all sorts of times. Join us next time to see what else we'll talk about, ranting about various movies that are not as good as they should be, more Ninja Turtles, or perhaps we'll just keep going on some serious topics. See you